podcast. We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come?
Alright, I'll do my own bit for myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it. Get off the road.
Hello everyone, and welcome. Indeed, it is the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I am Boater.
I'm Dave Mann.
And Dave, you know that I like making movies and stuff, and sometimes, I've even tried to make movies based on some video games. In particular, I think the next one that I should do would be based on Minecraft. I think it'd do really well. I think you could call it a blockbuster. Not mine, that's why it was a good joke. Hi everybody, and welcome.
I did not see that punchline staring me in the face from the second you started saying it, so bravo.
Okay, so hi everybody, yes, I'm Boater, and there's like some stuff going on down here that is my personal Twitch account. I'm like, where are my hands, there's my hands. It's my personal Twitch because, as we talked about last week and the week before, we are raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So we're going to update a little bit on how our progress is doing there before we dive into some of the gaming news. Dave, you've had another fantastic week.
Yes, I have been very fortunate where my attempts to garner goals and things like that have been very successful. So far, as of 7:31 p.m. today on the 12th, I am at $725.
Nice.
And tomorrow I have a sponsored stream. So tomorrow, anyone who donates up to $200 is going to get matched by fellow Garnted Cult member and leader in St. Jude's League at Reaper. So
wow.
If you have $5, you can donate $10 to St. Jude's. Just as a heads up,
really
and that's going to
cool,
be
yeah.
all of my streams, the weekend Wednesday on DM314 and the weekend Wednesday on Insane Games TV.
Very nice. Very cool. I am at $375.69 raised, plus $44 that isn't on that progress bar, so doing pretty good. Collectively, that means, of course, that we have raised over $1,000 between the two of us, which I am really excited for. I was talking about it on stream earlier today or last night, but like I think we talked about it when we were playing Portal even, that like we've been able to raise this much without any like larger donors coming in. The largest one that has donated to my campaign has been 100, but like previous years, obviously there was the one from Scott Cawthon that was 500. There's been a couple of 200s along the way, like one of the years that I was working, my employer made a 200 donation. So it's without those bigger ones, I'm really happy with how far we've come. And again, we're not even halfway through the month, and I'm more than halfway to my goal. So
yeah, that's the coolest thing is that Boater and I want to meet our goals, and we want to whatever. But the fact is that this is the one month of the year that all of the proceeds, all of the gaming and all of the different things that we're doing go to a greater cause, and something that I don't know about you, Boater. Well, I know this about you, Boater, but I don't know if you folks about there. But like, fuck cancer.
right? Yeah.
And so it can lick my balls all day. And that's why I absolutely love the idea of doing this every year, and why every year I get really hyped about it. And I'm really excited that people out there, friends of Boaters, friends of mine, friends of Insane Games TV themselves, and thank you for those donations, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Help us to tell cancer to fuck off, because especially in the case of St. Jude's, it's children.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna get really worked up because that's my bread and butter. during the year is working with children.
Yeah.
And so the idea of having to tell kids difficult news is one thing, and I have to do it pretty often because I work in alternate education. But to have to tell them that physically inside of them there is a failing biologically.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. I was streaming earlier today, and someone came onto my channel as Amanda from St. Jude, just popping in to say hi and thanks so much for all that you're doing. You know, they do appreciate, you know, that nearly $400 there, whatever. You know, the people helping out me this month have so far paid for a red blood cell transfusion. Like, it counts. It doesn't seem like much when you go to the St. Jude page and there's people that have raised thousands upon thousands of dollars, and I think that collectively we've raised over $2 million, but like that 375 still counts. Your 725 still counts.
And then Boder, let's put this into perspective of the fact that you and I together collectively have maybe we're starting to kiss 450, 500 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And we have raised over $1,000 annually for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So we are well out punching what people would say in metrics and things like that, being the fact that the people that are regulars of our channels, our products, and all the work that we do get it. And they get in with us because, you know, this is a worthwhile cause. And they see our passion about it, which is good.
So what I'm gonna do, there is other stuff that we want to talk about today, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drop the Tiltify links for both of our campaigns into the chat right now, over at Twitch. There is Dave's, which is the tiltify.com/@dam314/dam314playlive2020, and for me, tiltify.com/@boater/boaterbug2020. So both of those links, if you want to contribute to those to help us raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Dave has more money. I could use the help. It doesn't go through us anyway. Yes, so whichever you want to do. However, and if you don't want to, that's totally fine. We still love that you are here watching the Nerd Glasses podcast with us today.
And yeah, and don't get me wrong, because even though you don't get a big flashy thing when you come on and you chat with us, it does mean a lot when we look on the viewers and we see these people, you know, even if you're lurking, it means a lot to know that you're lurking, because it means that you chose to come hang out with us.
Yeah,
and thank
absolutely.
you. Like,
okay.
So
enough
Boater.
of sappiness. Dave, give us a topic. Let's move on.
Oh, Boater, I have a thing for this.
Oh, okay.
There's a place where everyone can be happy. It's the most beautiful place in the whole fucking world. It's made of candy canes and planes and bright red choo-choo trains. It's the meanest little boys and the innocent little girls. And you know, I wish that I could go there. It's a road I have not found, and I wish you the best luck, dear. Drop a card or letter on my side of town, because there's no time for fussing or fighting, my friend. But baby, I'm amazed at the hate that you can send. And you should absolutely check out the trailer for the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remaster, because it features the original fucking soundtrack from both of the games intact.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this. So just announced today, and I believe it's gonna be for the next generation consoles. It's going to be for the Xbox Series 1 X, yes, and the PS5. But it is going to be, Dave, your webcam doesn't want, Dave, hold on. Oh, it almost focused. Dave, your webcam doesn't want any of this. Can you figure that out while I start playing the thing?
Sure.
But yeah, so Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster. They're doing it, they want it to be as faithful to the original as they can. So they're doing it with the original soundtrack. They are doing it with all of the original maps, but they are introducing same maps. They are introducing some new features, some new tricks that you can do that were introduced later in the series. But for the most part, like, they're trying to faithfully recreate the gameplay of the first couple of Tony Hawk games. Dave, just try turning your camera off and on again, because you're just a massive blur.
Got it.
And sometime I'll help you try to troubleshoot that.
It happens.
Yep. There we go. And Dave, what if you... Dave has a skateboard. For the longest time, this was not a truth. His kids just assumed he had his kids where he works just assumed he had a skateboard.
So, firstly, watch the trailer, because there'll be a story time as to why I have this. But it also goes along with St. Jude's, and you folks have already gotten the thing.
Yeah, we have done that talk. Yep. What's coming up in my recommended is a bunch of odd things. Okay. I don't know if I can loop this. So okay, go ahead and talk.
Super duper excited.
Yeah, I'll just let this loop in the back. So, so like that Tony Hawk maybe wasn't the first game of that kind of genre, but it definitely, set the tone for what it should be. Like I never really played the Tony Hawk games. I played Aggressive Inline, which owes a lot to Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And there have been other like kind of offshoots and ripoffs and such as well. So, I really hope that one of the characters that you can play is present day Tony Hawk, the one who tweets like
the executive Tony Hawk.
Well, no, the guy that it's airport security like Anthony Hawk, like Tony Hawk. I wonder what that guy's doing now. This apparently. SSX was my jam. Yeah, that's another kind of taking a different sport but doing like the formula that Tony Hawk laid down.
I loved those games, and I loved literally everything about them, especially because the N64 had it, the PlayStation had it, and the soundtrack was the same on each of them, and it was the same audio quality. So they put in the effort.
Oh wow! Yeah,
they put in the effort.
Wow.
They really went the extra mile to make these games as complete and as cohesive as they could. And unfortunately, since then, much to Tony Hawk's even admitted chagrin, they really chased gimmicks, and so you saw a lot of the games moving with the times, but unfortunately the tech really wasn't where it needed to be. Tony Hawk Ride should have been a lot more fun than it was.
Yeah, I always feel like Tony Hawk was like a 4-entry series, but as we talked like a week or two ago, somehow there's been like over a dozen different Tony Hawk games, but there's really only like 4 good ones that people remember and were like, yeah. And like I think the consensus is that 2 has kind of been the best. So here they're remaking 1 and 2, and yeah.
2 is truly the one that I feel that they took 1, they put a complete product out there, and they just finessed it. 3, they had to start trying to change up the formula, and it was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good. 4, I really didn't want to get into, and so I didn't. But then Tony Hawk's Underground and Underground 2, Butter, did you play either of those?
Again, no, I didn't. But yes, I do remember those being from working my time in the video game trenches. Yes, those as well.
I just liked that Underground 2 was basically the genre knew that they had jumped the shark already. You can't make another the same. Like they can't do what Madden does.
You can't define a genre again.
But what they did was they then said, you know what's really popular? MTV, Bam Margera, Jackass, all these things.
Yep.
So it plays into these mechanics of the game, and they just made that plot of the game a pro skaters versus the Jackass crew, and it was fun. Yeah. Like it really was.
And again,
who had a better soundtrack, do you think?
Having played them too much, I can't say. But again, I just love that it's the original soundtracks. They're not like, all right, cool, it's this gameplay, but it's coming out now. So what would they be listening to now? No, stick with the original soundtrack. Like 100%. They're definitely going to add tracks to it, and I'm almost positive there's bands that said, and they just went, nah. That's fair. That might have happened.
So I did drop into chat the soundtrack to 1 and 2. I have a little bit more affinity for 1. but 2 was definitely a better game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like all of them look solid. It's not the thing is that as much as I would enjoy those soundtracks listening to them now, they're not what I was listening to at the time. So just looking at
Mm.
like I recognize some of the names, but I'm not hearing it in my head.
So, for example, Boater, when I say the band Dead Kennedys,
Mm-hmm. Familiar
or
with
the
them, but I
Suicide
couldn't. Yeah,
Machines,
yeah,
or Bad Religion, or like,
yeah. So that's me again. Not a series that I played at the time, and not the music I was listening to at the time, but now like really excited for those to come back.
I'm excited after 5 because 5 was just a wet fart in a very echoey room. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm very glad that my community decided for me not to purchase it. Thank you, Garnted Cult, because everyone was like, "Oh, you should get that. That would be a lot of fun." And then,
And then everyone was
yeesh.
like,
But yeah, I know that there's Boater, another game franchise that you spotted that's going to be getting a bit of a facelift, but in a good way.
There was something else that I spotted. I appreciate your attempt at a segue, but unless I'm thinking something totally different, what I was interested in was actually a new entry of a game that is not getting a remaster or a facelift or anything like that. But that is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So give me
Ah,
just a moment here because I figured out a way to just let that loop without me, everyone having to look at whatever's been recommended to me. um, Let me hit this really quick. Again, just oh, stop it. Stop. What is going on? Yes, this one. Um,
I would
okay.
argue Assassin's Creed has given it a facelift by changing locale instead of always being in the one place where the first 3 were, instead of being just in just Italy.
Well, no, I mean, because each
By going to
main
these
one.
places and things like
Well,
that.
it's kind of like how each Final Fantasy game is a new series. Only the Assassin's Creed 2 series was in Italy. The first one was in Middle East Crusades. The second one, and then Brotherhood and Revolutions. Not even Revolutions. Revolutions was taking place in like Istanbul. But yes, the first two were in that. The third was in the Americas during the American Revolution. 4 was just Caribbean. Then you had the French Revolution and Victorian England. You had a bunch of different things. But what they did a few years ago was that they came out with Assassin's Creed Origins, which said, all right, this is fine, but we've kind of people aren't quite digging this as much anymore. We could go back to the basics, or you know what, let's try something new. And so Assassin's Creed Origins was doing something new. It was more of an open world RPG. They followed that up with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was fantastic. Boater, your mic looks like it wants to boop your nose when you turn your head to the side. I kind of see that. Problem is, if I have it down here, then I'm breathing into it, so I gotta kind of balance that. But so it was Origins, and then Odyssey, and now Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the latest one. I was mistaken when I was mentioning Tony Hawk. That is going to be on the current generation of consoles, Xbox One X, PS4. This was announced and really shown off a lot during the Xbox Series 1X event last week. And they showed off a cinematic trailer as well as a gameplay trailer, which we'll show and talk more about that afterward. But I'm kind of excited for this because like Vikings, Nordic stuff, yeah, sign me up. Because like ancient Greek, I've played my fill of ancient Greek, I think, between like some of the original God of War stuff and like Age of Mythology, Age of Empires. I played a lot of ancient Greece. You know, in school, you'll learn a lot of ancient Greece. You don't learn nearly as much about ancient Nordic civilizations. So I absolutely love the new God of War that takes place in, Scandinavian mythology, Nordic mythology. And so I think I'm gonna really enjoy this as well. I was really close to playing Odyssey. It does so little with Assassin's Creed.
Odin is with us.
It does so little with like the Assassin's Creed lore and mythology that I almost think that's to its benefit. I think kind of the modern day, the ancients, all of that is, I feel like it's kind of old and stale and run its course. They told the story that they could tell with it, and now they're trying to grasp at straws, but they still tie in a little bit. So now they're coming back to this, and they are bringing some things back. Because I mentioned before that, you know, when they went back and did Origins, what can we change, what can we roll back? And they changed basically everything. Demon Dragon had played Odyssey and says it was so much fun. But one thing that they are doing is that they're bringing the Hidden Blade back. As a one-hit kill. Like if you play Assassin's Creed Origins, you have the equivalent of the Hidden Blade, and you're doing stealth missions, there's still no guarantee that you can just pop out of a haystack, shank a guy, and pull him in. It just does some damage. And for me, a lot of the appeal of early Assassin's Creed was that being able to move around stealthily and just like go up to someone in a crowd and be like, whoosh, kind of thing. And so they're bringing that back. They're bringing, and so I'm really excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. What I'm not excited for is a trend that we're seeing some more. So what we just saw there was the cinematic trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that more or less showed off the game. And that is a messed up thing. Sorry,
It did this trailer, if you didn't notice, did the same thing that any Final Fantasy trailer does for you.
Yes.
Ooh, cinematics, and absolutely how much gameplay, Boater?
There was zero gameplay, but like that trailer, its purpose in that cinematic trailer was to announce the game. And so you're seeing Vikings, you know that it's going to be involved with mythology because there's the old dude, and the next moment you look, it's, oh my god, Steph, why would you do that? Let me get through my sentence first, and then I'll address what just happened in chat. Is, you know, you see the old guy, and then you look again, and it's Odin, so, oh, it's going to be during mythology. Like, that is a really kind of important thing that, you know, alright, this is not going to just take place during Viking times, but it's still doing the mythology. And yes, Assassin's Creed does that, but it also, like, right at the start, it didn't say it's an Assassin's Creed game. And then you see him with the hidden blade, and it meant to build hype that a game is coming. Then what they'll usually do is a little bit later release the gameplay trailer. And so we're going to watch that right now. And ideally in a gameplay trailer, you should see what the gameplay is like. Now Assassin's Creed, you know what the gameplay is. Like, you should know more or less what it looks like. Not always. Assassin's Creed Origins did different things than the previous ones had done. But I'm not seeing any gameplay in here. I'm seeing more cinematics. I'm seeing what look like probably in-game cinematics. They're not quite as smooth as that other one. They look like they might even be rendered in-engine a little bit. But I'm not seeing gameplay. I'm not seeing running along rooftops and shanking dudes. I'm not seeing any ship game. Oh my gosh, there would be longboats. Ah, that would be so cool. I wish I could see that as gameplay right here.
All I can just picture is just some braggadociously, exceptionally drunk, overweight guy running, screaming top of his lungs, the very red, long beard, half teeth out of the mouth, just running from the front of the longboat and just jumping onto the roof of the building and bounding to the next one, and everyone on the boat going,
Creed Valhalla.
"Oh crap! I never seen him do that before."
Yeah. So, Demon Dragon, thank you for popping the PTSD on me with me family sick and dying with the annoying beggars. And I mean, like in later games, you can wing some you can wing some coins at them to get them away, or you could always get rid of them in another manner. You're scolded like, Altair didn't do that. Ezio didn't kill innocents. Well, I mean, they're annoying, but those are gameplay elements that haven't been around for a while. So, like, if the Hidden Blade is coming back, are some of these gonna come back? I don't know. We'll see.
I really liked the fact that you could goozle people with vagrant children and just a swarm of them running at somebody, and they'd be like, "Ooh, ah," and then just
Yeah. Like
right in the
early
throat.
Assassin's Creed, I really like. And so like I watched Steph playing Odyssey for more than half of the gameplay.
Game blue.
I don't know. And at no point did I say, yes, that is an Assassin's Creed game. And so that's what I would look for out of Valhalla at this point. It might tie into some other things and, something with bloodlines, but just I want to be a Viking and go around and hit people with my axes.
Through this entire trailer, there's only really two moments that make me think if they didn't put a title on it, this could be an ACH game. It's the moment where the guy step up kicks the guy in the face,
Yep.
and then the fact that the guy goes to throw the axe and it slows down as he dodges around something, and it's like, oh, an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, like there's a few points that look like they're actual gameplay bit. Like this part where the guy's running up and the camera follows him along the ground. Like that to me is probably a cutscene right after you've snuck through, and maybe has quick time events that hit this at the right spot and hit this guy in the face with the knee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to see what the gameplay is like, but at the same time, to be fair, it's Assassin's Creed. I don't expect this to play that much differently from Odyssey. You're gonna have a boat, you're gonna go around a bunch of islands, you're gonna kill dudes, and you're gonna yell. I'm happy with
a lot.
it. Yeah, a lot.
And
So-
especially if I can just go like
I also like that your Viking accent was actually a Scottish accent. So good job with that. That was amazing.
Thank you. I am very proud of mine and Fenian's heritage. We are disgruntled people who ain't from around here.
I was just very honored when I got to be on the God of War stream where we were just yelling at each other in accents the entire time. That was fun. That highlight's
and you
sitting
know
around
what?
somewhere.
If
We
we
opened a door, went to a room, and that was it for 3 hours.
that's why by the way, someone did ask when does that become a thing. There's going to be a 12-hour Spider-Man stream to recover Joe's work, and God of War will indefinitely be prominently featured on the 24-hour stream. So
Nice. Yeah, I gotta. I don't think I could do a 24-hour stream at this point. I could do 12, depending on the games that I chose. But like 24-hour, you know what? Like post quarantine, whatever. When I can have someone over and we can hot swap on the seat. I got a futon right back there on the other side of the backdrop. That's great. That was the plan originally for doing Grid a couple years ago, but that ended up just being a 14-hour stream because 2 hours in, boop, crashed the car. Okay, so that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm excited. I think that's probably the first. Like Odyssey looked good to me when it was coming out, but Valhalla is the first one that I've been actually excited for since Rogue, which was an Xbox 360 exclusive when Unity dropped on the Xbox One. So that tells you how long it's been since I've been excited for an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah. Origins interested me. I didn't buy it.
I was intrigued. I was intrigued by them kind of wiping the slate and going back, and maybe even I don't know if they've like officially started a new canon or whatever. They've definitely retconned stuff from the first couple of games by this point. I've been intrigued the past couple games. Valhalla has me excited. If it happens though, I might just play God of War again if I really need my Nordic fix.
I can also recommend. Well, the name of the game just flew out of my head, so I can't recommend it. Never mind.
Okay, good job. Two Human. Oh, now that I have my new capture card, I can totally start playing Two Human on stream too. That game is Oh.
You have one of the 6 surviving copies out there?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I do. I just need to make sure my 360 will decide to read discs. Because I'm
That
pretty
is the
sure
trick
that
with them
there's not a
nowadays.
patch for backwards compatibility on that thing on Xbox One. Not after all the legal trouble
They're
that thing had.
Yeah, I was gonna say there legally can't be.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So, Boater,
Dave.
I'll see if you can translate this bit of news. I didn't mention this to you, but I want to know. You know those games where people get like a thing and it's jumbled words and you have to try to figure out what it says?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not that. This is an impression of the person who's going to be starring in the film, and I want to see if you can guess who the person is and or the film franchise. I'll give you a hint. It's an 80s sci-fi action flick. Are you ready?
Okay.
I
Go
love
ahead.
forcing Boater to do this stuff.
I have
Savannah's
no
excited
idea
too.
what's going to happen. I'm a little scared.
So
for
on
it.
Instagram a couple days ago, this is what people were greeted to. Gonna be a couple more movies, doing some stuff, or project, fighting along Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's gonna be punching some people out and screaming, Adrian, you're really excited about these projects. They're taking a long time to talk about it. There's going to be a sequel to that one film that I did a couple years ago, and then it's going to be really good. Any idea? Balding action star?
Well, you mentioned I asked you to talk to test audio before we started, and you dropped this name. And considering how you kind of drooped in, I'm gonna say Sylvester Stallone.
Boom.
And as far as 80s sci-fi action,
I'll. Do you want another hint?
Sure.
He doesn't know how to use the shells.
I must have been one that passed by me then.
You also don't know how to use the 3 shells?
Apparently.
Oh no, Boater. Oh no.
I have doomed us all due to my lack of shell knowledge.
So it is going to be a sequel to the Wesley Snipes co-starred Demolition Man. I literally cannot wait.
Wow.
It's going to be so good. There is original source material written by the book that the original Demolition Man movie was written off of.
Okay.
So it's not like this is going to be, references to it. I will be very interested to see if they get Sandra Bullock back for it. But if you haven't watched Demolition Man and you have about an hour and 45 minutes to get a bunch of references that are supposed to be now, that are some of them actually pretty relevant.
Yeah. That's the fun thing about watching past sci-fi.
It really is. And Demolition Man 2 is going to be everything I want it to be, because if they go off of what the author wrote, it's going to be just bad sci-fi action.
Magnificent. I can't wait.
Speaking of throwing shade at folks from a distance, I know we talk about Animal Crossing and we do different updates and things like that.
Yep.
And this crosses over into, and I'm a little bit surprised that none of the other podcasts decided to get in on this fun.
Yeah,
but
this is their kind of thing.
The Detroit Lions, NFL football team, for those of you who don't know, and no, they're not good, and that's why you haven't heard of them.
I have a couple friends who were Lions fans that would be very mad at you for that, but they're not watching, so continue.
Get at me, bro. Seriously, I'm a Bills fan, and my team's better than yours. So I will copy the tweet that they did to it. So every year, your team announces their schedule. And it is important because what it lets you know is, hey, are you a fan of, this other team, but you live in Detroit? Well, here's your chance to see them in person.
Yep.
And things like that. So it's exciting. It's fun. And usually it comes out on a sheet form. Yep. And then, that's what it is. They decided this year to take Animal Crossing. How the hell do you copy a tweet? There you go. Copy a link to a tweet.
It's on screen, Dave.
Oh, good, cool. Thank you. I don't get the sound of that, so
That's fine.
Um,
I haven't turned on sound. You just go ahead and talk.
the fact that the Detroit Lions went through their entire weekly schedule and did in Animal Crossing references to the other teams. So, for example, a term for beating another team very badly in football is called burying them. So they had their character take out a shovel, dig a hole, go into their inventory, and there was an item that just said the Bears,
Bear.
and then it said bury them, and then
It's
into the
right
ground they
there.
went, and like,
Oh my gosh.
let's
That's
see,
incredible.
What are some of these other ones? Because I love them. It's all very clever. It's very good marketing. They then released, non video game related press releases where they
Yeah.
officially said, and stuff like that. So it was good on you, Detroit Lions, for creating a little bit of buzz for your team, even though you ain't gonna win this year. Sorry. I saw you
But they're
draft.
having fun.
Matt Stafford's hurt. That's their quarterback, the guy the face of the team.
Yeah.
And he's yikes. But if you're a Detroit Lions fan, there's your Animal Crossing news for the week. I love the fact that on the post they threw a whole bunch of shade to the Saints, the Who Dat.
Yeah.
Like so many good things put in there.
I need to get Animal Crossing. Like I'm not going to let myself get Animal Crossing until St. Jude is done, because otherwise I mean, I could stream Animal Crossing, but then Steph would never see me. So
That, and you got to play Fallout 76, which I'm really excited to see you stream. Because I'm not buying the game, but you're going to.
I gotta do Fallout 76. I have a Getting Over It stream coming up later this week. I need to get the timing done on that. So, just gotta figure out when the basically I'm out of hard drive space, which is why Fallout 76 hasn't happened quite yet. But pretty much someone said how much money to donate in order to do Fallout 76, and I should have said $76. They donated 100, so it's like, yes, this is absolutely happening. St. Jude Crossing.
Which I'm really excited for. Speaking of crossing, back, over, around, and into, Boder, this is something I'm a little bit surprised you weren't more hyped about. Well, I kind of understand why you weren't more hyped about it.
Okay.
But have you watched The Mandalorian?
Oh, God, yes. Oh, yes.
So we can both agree it's fantastic. And if you haven't watched it yet, first of all, follow and subscribe here at Insane Games TV, and then go watch The Mandalorian after The Citadel.
Yes. It's great. It is. I couldn't stand Rise of Skywalker. The Mandalorian made up for it. More than made up for it. More than made up for my disappointment in Rise of Skywalker. It's fantastic. And they've been announcing stuff for season 2. On May the 4th last week, they came out with a really cool behind the scenes documentary that I plan on watching again when I have some spare time, so probably in June. Talking about the revolutionary new video wall technology they were using for like on-camera VFX. There's just a lot of. It's a revolutionary series, and how they did it. It's also just freaking great Star Wars.
Yes, I wholeheartely agree, because as we talked about when we talked about Star Wars, one of the Nerd Glasses, one of the back episodes on YouTube, by the way, I don't know for you, but this one really captured that magic.
Oh yeah.
Like the opening theme plays and the baby comes out, and it's like, this is Star Wars. This is the Star Wars I wanted, the Star Wars I remember.
It was also like it did a good job of not being too afraid to do things differently. So like the Clone Wars, which is great, which grew in really great. It started out I was fine with its first couple seasons, but season 3 or 4 onward, it became also great Star Wars. Its finale came out last week, and it was fantastic.
Was it?
But yes, it was great. The last 4 episodes, basically, I want released as like a cinematic cut, just like a straight, give me that on Blu-ray,
Nice.
because that is like it's not exactly standalone because who exactly is this character that if you haven't watched Clone Wars, what exactly is going on? But it's still the culmination of everything that series was leading up to, and I'm so glad they got the chance to finish it. But like they, especially early on, they stuck to like the Star Wars formula. You know, the sequel trilogy wasn't out yet, so they were like, hey, the prequels are what's been out. And they kind of stuck to what the prequels were doing, but you know, made it a little more of a kids show, especially early on. And like the opening theme is very recognizably a retooled Star Wars theme. The
Yeah.
Mandalorian
Just like our intro theme, by the way.
Yes. The Mandalorian theme, that music is wonderful. I went to look up, see if I could get like the series soundtrack. No, you can buy the soundtracks for the individual episodes, fully scored by someone whose name that I forget, but has done a lot of other awesome scores.
Is it John
Um,
Williams?
no, it's not a
I'm pretty
John
sure John
Williams.
Williams. I was gonna say John Williams might be dead.
He's John
Actually,
Williams
now
is
that I
not
think
dead.
of
You shut your damn mouth. Uh, the composer is Ludwig Göransson. Um,
Okay.
and what else has he done? Really quick. Um, the Rocky franchise. Uh, let's see. He's done TV work for like Community. Um, yeah, he's a producer for other artists, including Chance the Rapper. He's done a lot of really cool stuff. And just it's such a masterful soundtrack. Like, mm, the like wood flute or whatever plays right at the start, and it's anyway. I'm sorry, you brought up the Mandalorian, and I've just been gushing about it for 4 minutes.
I'm glad because I really like the Mandalorian, but I'm not the one with the Star Wars background. So to have that for you to be able to also to plug the fact that Clone Wars is over because I didn't know that.
Yep, its finale was on Star Wars Day, May the 4th.
Damn it. So a familiar face is going to be returning in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
I
It's
saw
not James Earl
something about
Jones.
it.
But the actor Temuria Morrison.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Tamora Morrison played. Let me just double
Jango
check that
Fett,
I get this right. Yeah. He played Django because I know other
who
names
then
are being
became
thrown
all
around.
of the storm, all of the for the troopers. So
Yep. So all of the clone troopers there. And moreover, because Boba Fett is a direct clone of Jango Fett, when like the latest time that they re-released, I think in 2004 was the first time that they did it. When they re-released the original trilogy, they dubbed over the original voice actor for Boba Fett with Tamara Morrison's voice. So like if you
yes,
listen to the theatrical, it's he's no good to me dead. You know, you listen in that 2004 and onward, it's like he's no good to me dead or whatever. All like I can't do a New Zealand accent, but just imagine it with a New Zealand accent. Um, so like that'll be really cool. That means that basically because the Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett's coming back, which is like I kind of don't like casting announcements because I bet that would have been a really cool surprise to see in the series. Like I wish they could
yep.
have kept
Just
like I
had it
wish
happen at the day of the episode.
yeah, like the episode comes out and you're just watching and all of a sudden Boba Fett comes in and he wipes off some Sarlacc digestive juice or something. Because in Legends he basically rocket pack back here, little bazooka action on the jetpack. Yeah, he blows up the Sarlacc, he gets out. I would say no problem. There were some problems, but he makes it. So it looks like in this new Disney canon they're going with that as well.
So my question, Boater, is if they have him do that, are we going to get to hear that famous Lando Calrissian scream? Because I want it. I want it.
Yes, so more like rigor mortis, just popping in, um, where Assassin's Creed and Tony Hawk would be a fantastic crossover. But as far as Mandalorian, another casting announcement that they've made is that Katie Sackhoff, I believe is how. Yes, Katie Sackhoff is coming back to play the character that she voiced in The Mandalorian. In Clone Wars. That actually is a character that featured in that last arc of Clone Wars, like I mentioned. Mandalorians do feature time and again in the Clone Wars series. At the end of The Mandalorian, when you see Moff Gideon get out of his TIE fighter and he ignites that black darksaber thing, that is something that belonged to the Mandalorians in Clone Wars. Like that has directly tied into that. So that they're bringing back not just the character, but that they're bringing back the voice actor to play her as live action is a really cool thing that they're doing. There's been a lot of really cool casting stuff made for there's been a lot of really cool casting for The Mandalorian recently, and I cannot wait until they can get back to production on that, and I can't wait till we get to see it. The character's name is... Oh god, of course, like I just watched the finale, but I don't remember her name. I just remember her as, oh yeah, so-and-so's sister. Because I mean, you first go to Mandalore, and it's like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan, and apparently someone that he almost, but Jedi code, but still he would. Anyway, has a sister, ends up showing up in Star Wars Rebels as well, which Steph and I will start watching probably sometime this week. And now we'll be in Mandalorian, so it's just really exciting. Yes, Bo-Katan. Yes, now that I say it out loud, Bo-Katan as the name of the character. And yes.
What other franchise, and this is something I love about it, by the way, do every single background character get a name in?
Oh my god.
Like,
Star Wars is amazing and awful at the same time.
Star Wars, and the only other one that I know that like a majority of the people that you would even remotely run into have names is Tolkien's universe. Like that man just must have sat for months doing lineage. He did sit for months because if you read the Silmarillion, but just months of doing lineage. Yeah. And him and George Lucas sat down, and I appreciate that to no end. That
George Lucas didn't do the work for that for Star Wars.
Well,
most of that is like, you want to, yeah, whatever, you go ahead and do it. Like for Star Wars, that's all been filled out after the fact, and that's an interesting comparison because like Tolkien was like, I know everything. Here, let me show you that I know everything. George Lucas is like, I did some things, and everyone's like, I want to play in that sandbox. Can I latch onto this tiny thing? Sure, kid. Like it's a very different approach.
I liked that. George Lucas was definitely somebody that related to the idea of, here is the thing I'm excited about. Oh, well, I'm excited to thing that's next to it. And George Lucas, yeah, well, I got this over here, so you can just go over there and go do. And he like runs out of the room.
Okay, sure thing. Timothy Zahn, Kevin J. Anderson, Michael A. Stackpole, all of you just go have fun.
Exactly. Like.
Not a franchise, but every single character that we're meeting in We Happy Few has a unique name, which is insane for the amount of NPCs that you meet and knock out and kill. I was thinking Stargate does a good job of this because, like, all of the background people that you see in Stargate Command, they end up getting lines at some point. They end up being mentioned as characters at some point. And someone who was just like, yeah, he's the one that sits here and says Chevron 7 locked. Ends up getting lines and being a part of a plot by season 7. They had 10 years to do that with SG-1 and another 5 for Atlantis. So, like, 100% they did that a lot.
Isn't it nice that some shows choose to keep that consistent? Have those background characters that they're honestly, let's be entirely honest. You could do the Star Trek model where if they're in the background doing the boops, it doesn't matter who it is. They're doing the boops.
Yeah. And someone else will do the boops there next week, and that's fine.
Yep. Like the fact that, Stargate did that, that's, a lot of these other shows like put importance on the characters in the background, and it more gave that feel of, oh, this is in fact And I mean, alternating them out does also give that feel of this is what's going on. It also
Yeah.
pulls a lot less focus, but
Swapping them out gives the impression of a bigger crew, whereas Stargate Command was, there's 50
a
people
black
tops.
site, like
Yeah, like it's a high security thing. Let's operate with the minimum amount that we can securely do so with. My favorite are characters who are meant to be minor but are so well liked that they got more lines in story, like everything with Boba Fett and Onward. Dave, we are just after 8:20, and we haven't even touched the Nerd Glasses question of the week. So let's go over those, and then I think we're gonna have to wrap it tonight.
Sure. This week's question really wasn't so much a question as much as it was just we're now more than 7 weeks into varying degrees of quarantine and things like that. And I know that a lot of folks are hurting out there and things like that. And so, surprise, surprise, I am who I am on stream and I am who I am in life, as Boder is. We're fucking weird people. It's just who we are. So I reached out and I said, I'll just read it. Cliche and all as this is, this week's question is more of a show and tell. I'm personally very lucky to have helps in moments of mental health and something like that to help me process stressors, life, moments of incredible energy, upswing or downswing. And something that helps me with that, both with a little help from my friends and music. It does help me a lot. Sometimes it's belting in my car or finding a space to sit with headphones and just having it out. Too many songs for me to tag, so I posted one that I like to belt in the car. And I asked folks, it's your turn. Do you have a song, a written piece, something totally different and I use some terms because surprise, surprise, your boy went to therapy and I have a lot of terminology, but coping mechanisms, and to hit us with it. And a bunch of people, I don't necessarily want to shout people out because I don't know that people are necessarily comfortable with being recognized in so many ways.
Yeah,
But I know,
we'll start with yours. We're not going to be able to show them on stream because of various whatever. But what we'll probably do is in the
and that's
next
totally
day or
fine.
two, probably put them as a YouTube playlist. Either you or me,
Oh,
Dave.
cool.
I'd be happy to make a playlist of that kind of thing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So for you though, what song? Why maybe?
So I have a band. They're like from the Midwest, so they're very, hippie-ish, but they have heavier end instruments. They have a huge percussion sound, and they have three singers, so they do high end, low end, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's this band Guster. I really enjoy them, and so I chose a live version of their song "Come Downstairs and Say Hello," because I like the tone changes, the pacing changes in the song itself, things like that. Plus, I like sitting in my car and just belting it.
Yeah.
And I nail it, by the way.
Boom.
So that was mine, but I was very glad that in my community is someone that does do mental health and wellness podcasting every week. I do want to give a plug to CJ Playmaker, anchor.fm/CJ Playmaker. Please check him out every single Monday. He does a lot of good, and he puts a lot of good out there. But he specifically almost immediately answered and talked about how this particular song helped him motivated on teaching manifestation and showcasting and things like that. But it was Free Fall, a song from OK Goodnight, which was cool. Someone put on the Beatles song I Will.
Yep.
We had a friendo talk about a little bit of Game Grumps.
Yep.
And
That's
how
one that
that
actually has been nice for me recently. So that one's fun because it's musically very nice. It's like an orchestral thing, but they took voice clips from different episodes of Game Grumps and made a plot out of it, and it's two friends having a good time, which it's just it's sweary and they take jibes at each other, but it's in the end very wholesome.
Um, and then some other folks put in the song "Level of Concern" by 21 Pilots.
Yep.
And then one of my friends, a fellow Twitch streamer, things like that, and a person who works in a lot of different fields, talked about how it's just a matter of reciting into the familiar, listening to an album you've listened to for a while, doing something that gets that feeling of just catharsis, and just getting in there mentally to just kind of shut off and not have to engage the whole brain. And things like that. Very good advice and very helpful. And then another person suggested NF Intro 3, which is cool. Because I didn't know that this person listened to rap or hip hop, so it was really cool to see. And also Celine Dion's Ashes was a suggested hurdle help song. I'll throw another.
Yeah. Okay. Someone in chat mentioned "Better," by Jack Garrett.
Hell yeah.
And for me, what I would say to add in there is "Bang Your Drum" by Dead Man Fall. It's a Scottish band, and it actually kind of got notoriety because it was like the big musical number for the finale episode of The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. And someone linked to it right when I was just like a month into everything is awful, I can't sleep, I'm waking up at 4 a.m., everything like that. And I found it at just the right moment in my life where it was ticking off everything that I was feeling, but had that energy of just do your thing anyway. Get up, bang your drum, do your thing. Be
Hell yeah.
your best version of yourself. And so like that for me is just such a great message, and yeah, it means a lot to me. So.
And there's a million there's a million different productive coping mechanisms that folks out there can have. This one was just one that music really resonates with me personally, and I know it does with Boder as well.
Yeah, and there's different ways that like depending on how you're feeling, that you can listen to music, whether you want to listen to something sad just to do something with that mind space and have it focus on something, or again with Bang Your Drum, it was mornings that I needed to get up, I would bring it up on YouTube and I'd be lying in bed and just like watch the music video for it, which is like super basic, but I would listen to it to give myself the energy to get up and get dressed for the day. So
welcome to the stream, Bulldogs 1992. We are just starting to close out the Nerd Glasses podcast, but we were giving some helpful hints from our community about different music to listen to just carry the mind through a moment, or to lift up, or things like that. We would love to hear one from you as we're doing our closing bits. But Boder, what's going on next?
Well, next up is The Citadel, where I will be playing We Happy Few. Since the past couple weeks, I've gone back to a couple things I've done in the past. Bard's Tale, got to Dragon Age 2 with my new capture card. But it's been a little bit since we've done We Happy Few, so I'm excited to fire that back up. Gotta switch my backdrop around to the black side facing me. All of that is coming up. Basically, when this ends, there'll be about a 1 minute gap, then a 10-minute countdown, and we'll be live with The Citadel.
So, Boder, if you don't mind, I do want to plug something I'm doing on Sunday of Services, because I'm really excited about it. This Sunday, a trope that I started doing at personal expense, and it has returned because Claire bought me something for my birthday, and it was this guy. More specifically, Agai. Agai is a mobile suit, because I'm allowed to talk about it in this context. Ha ha! But the model building streams on Sunday of Services will be returning this Sunday, and I will be offering a strange alternative tool for folks out there. So we'll be offering it under the guise of subscriptions at Insane Games TV, donations to my St. Jude's Play Live campaign, follows, things like that, bits cheered. You will get to suggest. I'm going to have a couple alternate tools to cut sprues out, and none of which of them are going to be the ones that are
You're supposed
recommended
to use.
by the company to cut the sprues out.
Yay. That should be
So,
really fun. I enjoy.
Wake your asses
I
up to start
enjoy.
the week for Insane Games TV.
I enjoy when we get the chance to do things a little differently like that. So awesome. Well,
So, Voter, unfortunately, it's 8:30, and we're just gonna have to hold off Death Stranding till next week.
yep. Death
I-
Stranding's
I
gotta
don't-
wait. Resident Evil's gotta wait. We've got a waiting list. So we'll see. We'll get to them.
Next week we will be admonishing Brad Vickers. By the way, so if you're a fan of the Resident Evil franchise, tune in because he got a new coat of paint at Resident Evil 3, and I cannot wait to talk about it.
I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy leaning back and going, "Yes, Dave, that sounds fascinating." If you can't wait for that, remember to follow us right here at Insane Games TV. There is a button above my head right over here. And of course, stay tuned for The Citadel coming up right afterward. The stream is going to go offline. You'll wait about 60 seconds, and then it will come back online with a countdown. So I hope to see some of you stick around for The Citadel. Thank you, everybody. And from all of us here at Nerd Glasses and Insane Games TV, have a great night.